Hello, good evening to all of you. Vidhi, Anya, I hope you have been enjoying the classes. मुझे लग रहा है कि आपको क्लासेस पढ़ने में मज़ा आ रहा है और आज का जो लेसन है और भी बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है। और देखिए हम आपके सामने हैं और ये हमारा पेन आ गया। अब देखिए कि लास्ट टाइम मैंने तुम्हें जो डिस्कस किया था वो था सेपरेशन ऑफ मिक्सचर। What I discussed with you last time, separation of mixtures. Class 9th, as you can see on the top of this, is matter around us pure. I have told you that most of the substances which we are using in our everyday life are mixtures. They are not pure substances. For example, when I told you about the milk which you are drinking, then you found that milk is not pure. It has got soluble fats in it and also proteins in it. And if there is a mixture, as I said last time, how will we separate these mixtures? Butter is a mixture, all your substances, the ghee, oils, whatever substances you are buying from the market, they are not pure substances. Your cold drinks, juices, they contain more than one component. And as you can see here, what I am saying, mixtures can be physically separated. What do you mean by physically separated, students? See, I have not used the word chemical. You know that if I will say chemical, then there will be a chemical change or a new substance will be formed. So mixtures can be physically separated by using methods. What will be the principles of separation? Why should we able to separate two different compounds? That is our question. So here you can see mixtures can be physically separated by using methods that use differences in the physical properties to separate the components of the mixture. Therefore, what we are saying, there is a difference in the physical properties. What type of physical properties we are talking about? Here we have discussed with you. For example, certain liquids evaporate. You know that if I heat a liquid, what happens? Evaporation. You are very familiar with the evaporation of water. You are also familiar with the evaporation of certain liquids like alcohol, acetone. These liquids are highly volatile. So just you heat them, they will evaporate. There are liquids. Here we have discussed about distillation, filtration, chromatography, and on this left hand side you see here I have given you a list of different methods which are used for separation. There could be more. I mean certain substances. You know that the problem is that if you have a heterogeneous mixture, then the two phases are different. If I mix iron with sulfur, it is easy to separate. So you can separate them very easily. But when certain substances dissolve in another substance, liquids, etc., then what methods we use? So here, let me give a recap. I will be discussing crystallization. Before that, you know, if I said to you already discussed this filtration. What is filtration? You already know about filtration, students. In filtration, you know that you have a liquid and you have a insoluble solute. Solute is insoluble. Or in other words, when we talked about, I'm saying you have a solvent, there's a solvent. This is our liquid, and you have a solute. Solute is insoluble. is not soluble. For example, if you have sand in water, and in such cases, what you used is filtration. Filtration, we have discussed with you filtration. The solid particles which are present are larger in size. Therefore, the filter paper pores are very small. They don't pass through the filter paper, and we can separate sand and water, mud and water, chalk powder and water. All this can be done by filtration. In your home, the tea which you make, you are filtering it to get the liquid, and the tea leaves and other things remain behind. Filtration is very common, something very common which we use. Then second here, this was my first which we discussed. Then the second, you already know, as there will be questions in your exam on this. Evaporation. What is evaporation, students? What is evaporation? In this, you have a liquid which is volatile. You have liquid which is volatile, and you have insoluble. What do you have? Insoluble, or let me say not insoluble, non-volatile solid. I will rubbing this. What do you have? Non-volatile. You have a non-volatile solid. Non-volatile solid. For example, what we did, if you have salt in water, easily we can separate salt in water. Water evaporates. On heating, water will evaporate. So if I take a china dish, and in that I put, or if I have a beaker in which I have salt dissolved in water, I will heat it on a burner, water will evaporate, and what you will be left behind will be salt which is a solid. So evaporation also, we know, students, what is evaporation. Very soon we are going to solve questions on this. I have a list of questions which will. Third, here what we are talking is important, that you have seen here. Another important thing is here we have mentioned distillation. Students, what is distillation? What is distillation? If you have two liquids which are miscible with each other, I'm saying liquids, you have liquids and they are miscible, and their boiling points differ more than 25 Kelvin. Kelvin scale I am using. Difference means doesn't matter, you can say difference could be centigrade or Kelvin. So when there is a good amount of difference in their boiling points, as you can see here, we have used distillation. For example, we told you, if I have acetone and water and H2O, the boiling point of acetone is much lower than water. 100 degree, it may be around 50 or something. So this will, on heating in a round bottom flask, what we do, we set up a distillation apparatus as is shown in your NCERT book, which the diagram was given by us last time. After, when you will heat it, the acetone will boil first. You will note down the temperature at which the acetone starts forming vapors. Once it vaporizes, we will condense these vapors by passing water, and the result is we will get the acetone, and water will be left inside the distillation flask. Distillation is very important, is used a lot in chemistry. As you will go to higher classes, you will be using in the labs also distillation apparatus for separation of miscible liquids. Another thing we have written here is fractional distillation. There are going to be questions on this very soon. We are giving you fractional distillation. What is the meaning of fractional distillation? Students, fractional distillation means when you have two liquids, they are miscible, but their boiling point difference is smaller. Boiling point is smaller than 25 Kelvin. Important point you will note down in your notes because such a question has been asked. The difference in boiling point is less than 25 Kelvin, students, less than 25 Kelvin. So here we have shown you last time, this is a improved distillation in which a fractionating column is used. What we attach is a fractionating column, and inside the fractionating column there is a long tube which has beads. So what happens is, if you have two liquids with a boiling point range less than 25 K, then the higher boiling liquid moves up, the lower boiling recondenses, evaporates, recondenses back, and by this way we are able to separate mixtures of hydrocarbons which are present in petroleum products. Petroleum products, you know, in petrol you have mixtures of hydrocarbons. They can be separated by, petroleum products can be separated by fractional distillation. Liquids which are miscible but their boiling point range difference is less than 25 Kelvin, students. So we also know about that. Then you have seen one more important thing here. I am telling you centrifugation. This is very important question coming in exam. Centrifugation, students. What happens in centrifugation? Why we do that? If you have very small solid particles, solute particles are very small and they are dissolved in a solvent, they are dissolved in a liquid. For example, milk. In milk, I said that you have, what you have in the milk, students, in the case of the milk, you are having solid fats, you know, there are fats in the milk. Fats particle. These particle size, the size of the fat particle is very small. If I will filter it, no result, no result. You can filter, the fats cannot be separated by filtration from the fats from the water. You have water and proteins and some other things present in the milk. So here what we use is centrifugation is used to form cream from milk. Important question for exam, how will you prepare cream from milk? Has been asked many times in the papers. Now you are very well aware that what we do in centrifugation, that because there is a difference in the density, as you can see, the fat particles are denser than water. They are denser than water. Which fat particles? The density of the fat molecules, fat particles is more than that of the water molecules. So if I take in a tube and rotate them at a very high speed, centrifugation, what we do in centrifugation, that we will rotate the milk at a very high speed, There is a machine which you may have seen when you buy your milk from certain places. They are preparing cream from milk. They are rotating the milk at very high speed. You have seen churners. You churn the milk at a very high speed. What happens? You have seen कि जब आप lassi, you make lassi from milk, there is a lot of cream or malai coming on the top of it. You are churning it at a very high speed, So centrifugation is very important, can be used to separate cream from the milk. And from cream you can prepare butter by centrifugation, students. This question is very favorite question. When you use centrifugation, when filtration fails. Because filtration is very easy and simple. If filtration is possible, I will do that. but the size of the particle is so small, fat molecules in the milk, that they are dissolved in the water. And there is a protein also, casein, which forms measles and stabilizes the colloidal part of the milk. So centrifugation you understood, and I said questions will be there. Okay, students, what is the next coming in this? Separating funnel is also important, which we used last time. Separating funnel. Now you are making your notes, but at the same time you will get video recorded. Video recorded, no issue. Separating funnel. So what is separating funnel? If you have students two liquids which are immiscible, I am saying immiscible. What is the meaning of immiscible, students? The liquids do not dissolve in one another. If I have kerosene oil and water, so student, what happens here? You will find that these two liquids are not miscible. They will form two separate layers. The denser liquid will be below, and less dense will be floating on that. Kerosene oil is lighter than water, so it will float on the water. And we have shown you a diagram of the separating funnel, students, last time, in which we told you that you can take a mixture of kerosene oil and water. So oil and water can be separated by separating funnel. These two liquids are immiscible. They do not dissolve in one another, and therefore the denser liquid will be at the bottom and less dense will be at the top. This is very important. Whatever I am discussing, these are some of the questions which we are going to solve and have been asked repeatedly in exam, student. Centrifugation, fractional distillation, simple distillation, evaporation, sublimation. Okay, let us see. Questions are coming in exam, because I want you to get 100 out of 100. I want you will get 100 out of 100. So I'm discussing all the possibilities. Sublimation, you know that certain substances in chemistry, on heating, the solids get converted into gaseous state. They do not form liquids. You are aware of that. Camphor, you are aware, students. Then naphthalene, these are all organic compounds. Anthracene is also an organic compound. Ammonium chloride, you have done an experiment in the chemistry lab with this solid ammonium chloride. What happens if you have a mixture? Because question is going to be there. So I will give you a mixture and you have to separate it. So whenever you have camphor, naphthalene, anthracene or ammonium chloride, these compounds, they sublime. And if you will have a mixture of NaCl and ammonium chloride, then we will do sublimation. We have already discussed this method in our last lecture. A diagram was also shown to you, that we will heat it in a china dish. The mixture, an inverted funnel with a cotton wool is kept on the china dish. This anthracene or ammonium chloride will sublime and it will form vapor, students. These vapors will rise. They'll get stick to the sides of the, what you have put a funnel on the funnel, and then we can remove it. Sublimation, important question, student. All the important question I'm discussing for you. All the important question I'm talking and discussing with you. Further, you see certain more terms have been written. And here magnetic separation has been written. In chemistry, this is important. As you will go to higher classes, you will see that certain iron ores are separated by magnetic electromagnets, magnetic separation. You know, certain substances are attracted by the magnetic separation. They can be separated by magnet. Certain iron, iron ores, iron ores. Certain other metals are there which have ores. So they are attracted by the magnet. If you have iron and sulfur, easily you can bring a magnet. Iron will be attracted by the magnet, but sulfur will not be attracted by the magnet, students. So we can separate these two by magnet. These are all physical methods. You can see that there are no formation of new substances. We are not forming any new things here. And we are only using physical methods. We are not doing any chemical reaction till now. It's very important. You should understand the difference between physical and chemical. For example, you know, if I have to dissociate water into hydrogen and oxygen, then I have to pass electricity, which becomes a chemical procedure to separate water into its components. In all these cases, the identity of the substances have not changed. We simply used physical methods. Difference in physical properties, as I told you right here. With properties, which one? Physical properties. So physical properties difference have been used. Magnetic separation you can do, students. And more important, which is coming in exam, you know, chromatography. Very important method nowadays. Chromatography, students. As you can see, chrome means colors. If you have mixture of dyes, you know, dyes are colored substances. One dye could have more than 2 colors or 3 colors. Supposing in a dye there are 3 colors. In a dye there are 3 colors. That means there are 3 different solutes. 3 different solute particles are present, I am saying now. How many? 3. What? Different solutes. So there are different solutes. And these solutes have got different adsorption properties too. Very important that there is a property which is called adsorption. And we have shown you a simple paper chromatography in which we used a special filter paper, which we said is a chromatographic paper. And you put a spot of the black ink and put it in a graduated cylinder. Put it in a graduated cylinder. What you did? You took a graduated cylinder and you put that paper and water, touch the water with the filter paper. The water was rising in the filter paper. As the water was rising in the filter paper, the result of which was the different solute particles which had different colors, students, they were adsorbed to different extents and you were able to get different colors separated. That means the dye contained 2 or more than 2 different solute particles of different colors. Nowadays, there are more types of chromatography, liquid, gas, etc. But in our course, we are only talking of the separation of black ink, blue ink, and we found that in black ink there is more than one dye which is present. Okay, this we can do. 1 or 2 more terms are there which I am going to explain. Precipitation. What is precipitation, students? Precipitation. I hope if you will go in the chemistry lab and will do certain reactions to supposing in the chemistry lab, we have sodium chloride, aqueous. You react this, you for add to this silver nitrate aqueous solution. You will get a white color solid. This is my solid. I am showing by this arrow. That means this is a solid silver and Cl. Silver and Cl, you can see. The silver combines with Cl to form AgCl, and you have NaNO3 aqueous. Now this is called precipitation. This is called precipitation. Precipitate has been formed. So you may try to filter it if it is solid, and we do filtration if possible. Two ways. This is a solid, this is liquid, insoluble. These are insoluble. So we can filter it. And supposing we are not able to filter it, then I will use centrifugation, this one. In chemistry lab, you will see a centrifugal machine. This is a machine, centrifugal machine, in which there are different tubes in which we put this liquid and rotate it at very high speed. And the result of that is the precipitate will settle down. And then we can do decant. This is called precipitation. I have already written on the top of this, student, decantation. You are aware of what is decantation method? Certain solids, when they settles down, I can remove the liquid. I can throw the liquid from the solid. So the water, and if you have sand, I can do the decantation process. I can just decant. I can decant the liquid, which is the top of that, and what is left behind? The heavier particles. So here we have discussed all this. Now one more thing is coming here. You are seeing one more important thing which we have not discussed. What is that? Is here, see, crystallization. What is crystallization, students? What is crystallization? Very important. See that, supposing you have impure copper sulfate. I have an impure copper sulfate. There are impurities which are present in the copper sulfate. And what I do with this? Now, first thing is that you can dissolve. I give you a copper sulfate solid which is impure. First I dissolve this in water. This, supposing I give you 50 grams, but I give you 50 grams of copper sulfate. I will dissolve it in water. What will, there are impurities. I filter it. What happens when you filter it? Those impurities which are not soluble in water, they are removed. Then what I do? I heat it till the point of the saturation. Matlab saturated liquid is formed. What is formed? Saturated liquid. You are aware what is the meaning of saturation, students? I told you the maximum amount which can be dissolved in a solvent is called saturated solution. So we are forming a saturated solution, students. You will heat it, some water will evaporate, some water, not all, some water will evaporate. And once it is a saturated solution, and hot solution, it is hot because you have heated it. We will cool this now. Next step, we will cool this. Fourth step, I will cool this liquid. So you will allow it to be in the atmosphere, or If you have some ice bath, we make a lot of ice bath in chemistry, put a lot of ice around it and leave it for some period of time, 1 hour, 2 hours. Then what happens is that the solid starts separating out. Solid copper sulfate crystals are formed. Crystals formed. What I am trying to say, what happens is, what happens, students, that when you had copper sulfate solution, you had a copper sulfate solution. Inside the copper sulfate solution, what was there? Copper sulfate is completely dissolved in the water, but you have heated it to form a saturated solution. Some water evaporates. On cooling, the crystals of copper sulfate are formed. What are formed? Crystals of copper sulfate. And these crystals are pure. These crystals, students, are pure copper sulfate. Pure copper sulfate is formed. So you will see beautiful pure crystals of copper sulfate, because when the crystallization takes place slowly and slowly, the solid starts separating out. When you cool the solution, the impurities will not come in this, and you will get a pure copper sulfate solution. This method has advantages over other type of methods, because here, on cooling you are getting the liquid. Therefore certain substances are not stable at very high temperature, or certain substances do get impurities also when we do other methods. But in this method you get more pure form of copper sulfate, more pure form of the copper sulfate. So we can get butter from cream, you can get your clothes when you are using washing machine, squeezing of the water, centrifugation, that is centrifugation. And kerosene oil and water, you have been told, you can separate by separating funnel. Extraction of iron from ores can be done also by a separating funnel. In the extraction of iron, slag is formed. Acetone and water, I can do the distillation. And here the separation of pure copper sulfate from impure copper sulfate by crystallization process. And another thing, you have heard about alum. What is alum, students? You have heard about Fatkari. White color substance is there. White color substance is there. What we call them as Fatkari. This is an antiseptic. People who are doing shaving, they are rubbing it with their skin with this. If some cuts, etc., are there, it heals. Antiseptic. So Fatkari also impure. If it is impure, I can purify it by crystallization. I can purify it by crystallization. So these are some of the methods, students, which we used for separation. Some of the methods which we are using for the separation process. And I hope things are becoming clear to you. See, we have already given you all the possibilities here. Decantation, you know about. If you want to see decantation, this one. You have a solid and certain suspension. Suspension means bigger particles are settling down. So we can decant the liquid. Therefore, students, we know what we are doing here. Okay. All right. Here we are coming on a very important thing now. What we are doing, if you have air, how can we obtain different gases from air? See, How can we obtain different gases from air? Students, you know air. What is air? I am inhaling air. You are inhaling air while you are studying from me. While my class is going on, I am inhaling air. You both are also inhaling air. Air is a mixture of gases. You know that. What is air? Air is a mixture of gases. Mixture of gases. Interesting that you have so many gases. Most of it you already know that you are saying, sir, oxygen, nitrogen, and for example, argon is an inert gas. AR. These are all gases. Inert gas. Argon is an inert gas. Nitrogen is also inert. It is going inside my body. Is not doing anything. Very important that nitrogen is more than oxygen. So around 78% nitrogen goes, and this is around 18%. But still, nitrogen is not affecting my inside of my body, not attacking me. It doesn't react. Very important. Inert gases are also there in small amounts. What method we use in chemistry? You are very intelligent students. You are so intelligent that you are getting 100 out of 100 marks. Amazing, amazing. And I am sure that in the final paper you will get 100 out of 100. And not even 1 mark will be lost if you will follow my notes and lectures. All the questions are going to be solved here. All the questions of NCERT book and every line written in NCERT book will be decoded by me. And in a very simple manner, you will get the notes as well as the video recorded lectures. Therefore, there should be no problem. We are going to solve each and every question of the book and extra questions. Because students who are appearing for Olympiad papers, NTSC, want to go for NEET, want to become doctor, engineers, they need extra knowledge. That also I will give you. So that you become very, very intelligent students. Now here you see air. I have air. Air is, you are saying air is a mixture of gases. So what I will do, you know how to liquefy the gases. I told you there are 3 states of the matter. I'm saying there are 3. You want to liquefy the gases. How you will liquefy the gas? Here you have mixture of gases. So you already know that you increase the pressure. Increase the pressure. What I will do? I will take a gas, air, and I will apply high pressure. When the pressure is applied, the gas particle come closer, closer and closer. And in the, we told you when we change the, how to change the state of the matter. At the same time, we will also decrease the temperature. What we will do? Decrease the temperature. Decrease the temperature. So there are 2 things which we are doing here. You are saying, sir, we know about it, so good, you are so intelligent, that you will increase the pressure, decrease the temperature. You know, for everything some apparatus is required. And sometimes these apparatus are difficult because you have to apply very high pressure and decrease the temperature to a very low extent, because these are gases. Their boiling points are very, very low, which I will tell you how much. So which gas is going to form liquid first? I am decreasing the temperature, decreasing the temperature, decreasing the temperature. There is a temperature at which the gas becomes liquid. That is known as critical temperature, critical temperature. So below that temperature, gas will not become a liquid. So when I go from higher to lower temperature, naturally, which has a higher critical temperature will form liquid first. So here you will form liquids. What you will form? From air, you are saying that you have air. This is gas. You form air liquid. What you are forming? Air liquid. Air liquid by applying high pressure and decreasing the temperature. The liquid contains how many gases? Here we are saying it contains oxygen and nitrogen, and argon is an inert gas. So here liquid, these gases have been liquefied. Liquefied how? By increasing the pressure and decreasing the temperature. ठीक है जी? What we did? Apply high pressure, decrease the temperature, they become liquid. And you know that if you have a liquid and their boiling points are different. What are different? Boiling points. How much difference? For example, if I have oxygen, it is given minus 183. Argon boiling point is minus 186. Nitrogen boiling point minus 196 degrees Celsius. These are the boiling points. Minus 183, minus nitrogen, you can see has the lowest value because it is negative. Negative means nitrogen has the lowest value of the boiling point. Lowest value. It has a lowest boiling point. Out of this, oxygen has the maximum boiling point. Maximum boiling point. Because it is minus 183. Minus 183 is bigger than minus 186 is bigger than minus 196. Negative because minus 196 is smaller number than this and this. So I hope you got my point. So the maximum boiling point for oxygen, there is a difference in the boiling point, but not that much, not that much. So what method we will use for separation, students, when the boiling point difference is less than 25 Kelvin? You told me, oh sir, fractional distillation. Fractional distillation. Okay, so good. You are so intelligent that I have so much faith in you that you are getting 100 out of 100 in science. Science is your favorite subject now. Because if lockdown was not there, I would have called you up and you could have taken a cup of tea with me with some snacks. I know both of you are very hardworking and you are working so hard to get 100 out of 100. So fractional distillation is used when the difference in boiling point is less than how much? 25 Kelvin. As he says here, gases get separated at different heights, allowed to warm slowly. Fractional distillation column. We already know, we have told you distillation and fractional distillation column I have shown in the last diagrams of this. So what will happen? The boiling points are different. Which has the lowest boiling point? N2. So which liquid will come first on fractional distillation? Nitrogen has the lowest boiling point. So it should come first on distillation, right? Very important. Some questions are asked like this. What will be the next one? See, minus 196, minus 1. You are aware of the liquid nitrogen which has been used in parties for the ice cream parlors which were using the liquid nitrogen, and you enjoyed it because that ice cream is so cold, and white vapors, white fumes which you see are the nitrogen gas. It becomes from liquid to the gas when it comes in the atmosphere. So first to come in the fractional distillation column will be nitrogen, then argon, second, and oxygen will be the third. So they three will get separated, and here we have given you how much is the percentage volume of the three gases. Boiling point we have shown you minus 183, minus 186, minus, and percentage volume 20.9 oxygen, 0.9 argon and nitrogen maximum 78.1%. So therefore we are clear that the air which you are inhaling has more nitrogen, but I told you nitrogen is inert gas. It goes inside my body and comes out my body. And in the previous chapters, I will revise every chapter, don't worry. I will revise every chapter. In the fundamental units of cell, we told you there is a diffusion and osmosis which takes place in our body. Diffusion of gases is taking place. This air you are inhaling, respiring, what is happening? Diffusion of this in your cells is taking place. You are releasing carbon dioxide, inhaling oxygen, and plants photosynthesis reverse process. We know about that. Very interesting that now you can answer this question in the school exam. How will you separate mixture of gases from air? So we have got three gases here: oxygen, nitrogen, and argon. By volume, percentage is also given. Arrange the gases present in air in increasing order of their boiling points. Which gas forms liquid first as the air is cooled? When air will be cooled, the one which has a highest temperature will form the liquid first. Oxygen will form the liquid first, argon next, and nitrogen. Because we are cooling now, we are cooling. So the highest temperature, maximum boiling point is this. So this will form the liquid first on cooling. But in fractional distillation, nitrogen will come first in fractional distillation. So I hope you got the answers of the questions which we were talking about. How can we obtain pure copper sulfate from impure sample of copper? This question was given to the students in the exam. I've already told you crystallization will be used. What we are saying, the crystallization method is used to purify solids. Very important. If you have a solid which is impure, how will you purify? One of the best method is crystallization. So what we do, we take a liquid, dissolve it in a liquid, then heat the liquid to boil off some of the liquid. Once the liquid is boiled, what will happen? Some water evaporates, saturated solution, hot saturated solution is there. I cool it. I will cool the hot saturated solution. Beautiful crystals of copper sulfate will be formed and impurities will be left behind. When crystallization takes place, the impurities are not coming in the crystals, and this is a very useful method to purify solids. So what we said about crystallization. Students, a very important question is coming in your exam. This has been used to get salt from seawater. Salt from seawater. You know that your sea has got salt, but in the seawater there are large number of impurities. There are large impurities which are present in the seawater. So if you want to get pure salt from seawater, the salt which is coming to your home, which you are eating, it comes in the packets. Why it costs so much money? Because salt is free from the sea. You can go to the sea and get salt, but that seawater is not pure. It has large impurities. So we have to use crystallization here. Heat it, and then allow it to cool, filter the salt water. You will filter the seawater, some impurities are gone. Heat it, form a saturated solution, cool it. On cooling, what you get? Beautiful crystals of sodium chloride, salt, which you are eating at your homes. This is pure salt. So how you are getting pure salt from seawater? By the process of crystallization. Seawater has large impurities. This question was given to the students. Therefore, I hope you understood my important points. in the lecture which we have given you few important things, that what are the different methods which are used in chemistry or in science for the separation of mixtures. One thing is very clear to you and me, that most of the substances are mixtures. So now we know how to you can prepare cream from milk at home, you can prepare butter from cream, uh, you can prepare your cream from curd by centrifugation. All these processes, Fatkari is impure. You can do the crystallization of that to get pure Fitkari, which acts as an antiseptic. So you have mixture of gases in the air. We can separate them by the method of applying high pressure and cooling the air mixture, decreasing the temperature, then using fractional distillation. So I think both of you are now very well aware that if you are given different questions on this in exam, separation of mixture questions are always given in every paper. Every paper will have questions. They'll give you a mixtures question we are likely to discuss in our next classes. All the questions that here we are giving you mixtures. Tell the method which will be used for the separation. I hope there is no doubt. If you have any doubt, let me know. Any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, my best wishes to both of you, and you share our videos with your friends so that they can know that you are having live classes with me and you are participating with me and scoring 100 out of 100 marks, so that you shine and you have important merit coming for you, both of you. So I will meet you in my next class. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.